My family started recording interviews with my grandmother and her two sisters when they were in their 80s and 90s. At first, these were home movies capturing familiar family stories. But the three sisters wanted to keep talking. And as they did, they revealed a complicated and surprising chronicle of the early Japanese-American experience. It was through a series of disasters, both natural and man-made, that their Japanese parents became almost accidental Americans. And the family's Americanness would be tested and contested repeatedly throughout the first half of the 20th century.
So your parents, your father's name was Yatsu Saburo?
Correct.
Is that correct? Do you know where he was born?
Where he was born? In Japan, Aichi Prefecture.
And do you know how old he was when he came over?
That I'm not sure. Nancy probably knows when he was about 16, I think.
16.
Her answer and my answer might not be same. From what I heard, he used to gamble in Japan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who? Father?
Yeah. So
That's the first time I've heard.
Parents sent him over to his brother, you know.
You mean Grandpa used to gamble?
Right.
So they were worried about it?
Yeah, so they sent him over here because the older brother was already here.
That's the first time I've heard.
But he found out that you never get ahead because the house takes, every time they play whatever game, and the house takes 10% or whatever of those winnings, so he says you'll never get ahead, so he said he quit.
Oh, you finally figured that out?
Yeah.
Yatsu Saburo Ito arrived in San Francisco in 1897 as part of an early wave of laborers emigrating from Japan, seeking the promise of abundant work and wages in America.
As to why people came over was some of the disruptions that occurred during the Meiji era, where Japan was trying to consolidate itself as a strong state in the world and rapidly industrialize. And a lot of that fell very heavily on the backs of those strata which were least able to afford it.
On the American side, there was a demand for labor, but in the 1880s, because of anti-Chinese sentiment, there was the Chinese Exclusion Act, which then cut off the supply from China. And so the Japanese were the next group that were recruited.
He started out as a houseboy in San Francisco, is that right?
Yeah, when he came to San Francisco. Yeah, he said one day he made an apple pie. And then instead of putting cinnamon, he said he put the black pepper.
Not black, red
What's a red pepper? Anyway, some kind of pepper.
Why did he do that?
He didn't know from, cinnamons and things like that,
So he had a friend, I think, that was doing housework, houseboy too, and I guess that person knew how to cook more than my father, so my father went over to him and asked him how to make this apple pie. Yeah, and I guess he couldn't read yet or something, so put something else in instead of cinnamon.
What happened?
Well, I'm sure he put it in his mouth and spit it out right away.
As of 1900, there were just over 10,000 Japanese in California, comprising less than 1% of the state population. That year, a large anti-Japanese meeting was held in San Francisco, organized by local leaders from the American Federation of Labor.
The Japanese are starting the same tide of immigration which we thought we had checked in the case of the Chinese 20 years ago. The Chinese and the Japanese are not bona fide citizens. They are not the stuff of which American citizens can be made. This is not a labor question, nor a local one, but an American question involving the existence of our republic. James Phelan, Mayor of San Francisco, 1900.